Melissa wasn't expecting much when John asked her out, but when he said he had something unique and exciting planned for their first date, she was intrigued. He promised it would be unlike anything she'd ever experienced. In hindsight, that might have been a warning. Instead of a restaurant or a park, John picked her up and said with a grin, "How do you feel about a little adventure?" Before Melissa could ask for more details, they pulled up in front of an old, run-down building with a faded city infrastructure sign. She blinked in confusion as John hopped out of the car, enthusiastically saying, "Come on, the entrance is this way." The entrance? To what, exactly? John led her to what could only be described as a large metal grate. Melissa's stomach flipped as John proudly revealed that they were going on an underground tour of the sewer system. Yes, the actual, literal sewer. He explained that he had always been fascinated by urban exploration, and that tonight they were going to experience it firsthand. Melissa tried to be polite, but nothing about the sewer screamed romance. Still, she didn't want to be rude, so she followed John, hoping it might be more interesting than it sounded. Spoiler, it wasn't. Within minutes of descending the rusty ladder into the dank, dark tunnel, Melissa was overwhelmed by the stench. It was like every bad smell she'd ever encountered had decided to have a reunion in this very tunnel. John, on the other hand, seemed completely unfazed. He was chatting away about the history of the sewer system, gesturing animatedly with his flashlight as if they were on a sightseeing tour in Paris. The date got worse when John, in his enthusiasm, decided to take a shortcut through a narrower side tunnel. It wasn't really a shortcut. It was just a bad idea. The walls were slick, the floor was muddy, and Melissa was trying her best not to touch anything. John, still excited, forged ahead, not noticing that Melissa was struggling to keep up. And then it happened. Melissa slipped. One foot went flying out from under her, and before she knew it, she was sitting in a puddle of something she did not want to identify. John turned around, his flashlight illuminating Melissa's horrified face as she sat there, her jeans soaked with murky water. "Oh, no," he said, rushing over. "You're fine, right? It's just water, mostly." Melissa's face twisted, and she bit back the urge to scream. "Just water? In a sewer?" She forced a smile, trying not to imagine the germs that were now her unwanted companions. And then came the rats. Yes, actual rats. A pair of them scurried across the tunnel in front of them, and Melissa had finally had enough. She let out a shriek that echoed through the tunnels, her nerves completely frayed. John, oblivious as ever, said, "Oh, don't worry, they're harmless." He even crouched down, trying to get a closer look at the rats, as if this were the highlight of the date. Melissa was done. Completely and utterly done. She told John she needed to leave, now. John looked disappointed, but led her back to the ladder. Climbing up, Melissa could feel her heart pounding, her only goal being to reach fresh air as soon as possible. When they finally emerged back onto the street, Melissa took the deepest breath she had ever taken, savoring the relatively clean air of the city. John, still trying to salvage the situation, asked, "So, want to grab some ice cream?" "There's this great little place nearby." Melissa stared at him, incredulous. She was covered in sewer water, her shoes were ruined, and she probably smelled like a walking health hazard. "Ice cream? Seriously?" Melissa politely declined, saying she needed to get home and sanitize everything. John looked a bit confused, but accepted her answer. He gave her an awkward side hug before she quickly made her way to a taxi, not even bothering to look back. As she rode home, Melissa couldn't help but laugh. It was either that or cry. Who takes someone to a sewer on a first date? She wasn't sure if John was just completely clueless or if he genuinely thought this would be fun. Either way, Melissa knew one thing for sure. There would definitely not be a second date.